Hi, welcome. We are looking at doing proofs. Now, the thing that you need to remember are these are the similarity postulates that work. These are the ones that do not work. So first of all, I look here and I say, well, I am missing a side, which means SSS is out. I have one set of angles, but not more than one, so this is probably out. Looking here, it looks like I have a combinations of sides and angles, so it looks like this is the method that I might want to use. So I look here and I say, well, B is equal to E. That's pretty clear. Angle B is equal to angle E. And that is clear because it is given to you. They are both marked exactly the same way. Now I need to set up some ratios for my sides to see if they're the same. So I can't use this because I don't know it. But I do know that I've got these two sides here and these two sides here. Now I need to be careful how I set them up, because I know you're tempted to set these two equal to each other because they're both on the left and they both look like they're smaller. But the reality is this one says this is smaller and this one over here says this is smaller comparatively. So what I really want to do is set up 2 is to 3. Now I'm setting those up because I am using the ratios of the sides that are supposed to be corresponding. And then I want to set up the larger one and the larger one. So again, they both have to be right next to the B in order to be SAS. So I'm setting up angle. I'm setting up 3 is to 4.5, which also gives me the same decimal. And again, I am doing that because I'm setting up ratios that are supposed to be corresponding to each other. I put each of these together because this is an S, an A, and an S, and I have an S, an A, and an S on my picture. So I need to be very careful, and it doesn't really matter how I start, so I'm going to just do A, B, C, not to make it confusing. But A here, well actually let's do B first. B goes with E, so E is going to be in the middle. A here is the marked one, and then go along the short side to get to A. So the marked one going along the short side goes to F. And the last one is C and D. Now the reason that I'm allowed to say this is SAS. You always look up above for your reasons. Now, because I know that they're similar, I now know that this ratio will also be equal to each other. So now I can set up 2 is to 3 as 4 is to DF and solve for that. And again, the reason is if I know I have similar triangles, that gives me equal ratios. Okay? So you end up that DF is equal to 6. Alright, let's go ahead and do number 2. We'll do 2 and 2. For number 2, again, I do not have this, so SSS is out. I have 2 sets of sides that I can compare. So it seems like SAS might be a good option. I just need the angle in between it. So I look here and I say, well, what do I know about those angles? Chapter 2, we learn the name and the relationship of them. I'm hoping you remember. These are called vertical angles. And I hope you know the relationship that they're equal to each other. Now I can't say angle C equals angle C, because am I talking about this one? Am I talking about this one? Am I talking about this one? There's lots of things going on at C. So I do need to be more specific. I'm going to call it ACB. My phone is ringing, whatever. So angle ACB is equal to angle, and it doesn't matter what order you say it in as long as C is in the middle. I'm going to do DCE. And that is because vertical angles are congruent to each other. So I can't just say vertical, that's just the name, you have to have the name and the relationship. So I've got my angle, now I need to compare my sides. So 2 is the smaller of these two, which must go with 4, which is the smaller of these two. So be careful. 2 is to 4, as 3, the larger one, is to the larger one. And I can do both of those by setting up ratios of the sides that I'm wondering if they're corresponding to each other. And all of those state that triangle, again, I'm not going to be really worried about my first triangle that I state, but angle A should go with E. Why? Going from C across the short side gives us A, going to C across the short side gives us E. B must go with D, and then obviously C goes with C. And that is, again, SAS, triangle similarity. Now that I know that they are similar to each other, now I can set up a ratio to solve for S. And again, it's because similar triangles give us equal ratios. But I cannot solve for that first. In fact, I can't solve for it at all unless I know that they are similar, because the Pythagorean theorem is out. All I can use is similarity. So I've got to show that they're similar first so that I can solve for it, and x is equal to 8.